I haven't flipped a bird in a long while, so I felt like doing that for the sake of it. So, alright, we're going to talk about Nirvana in 1993. And this is kind of something I wanted to mention simply because I need to get back to some of the grunge stuff and 90s stuff. I know by this point it has been 6 months since I said welcome to the 90s, but in a lot of ways I still kind of want folks to be able to live within this area. So I do have a series of grunge videos. So if you don't know, Nirvana's final album was In Utero, which came out in 1993, September of 93. Now, the thing about that was Nirvana was pretty popular in 1992. That was their breakout year. And by May of 1994, it was gone. It was completely vanquished because Kurt Cobain was no longer here. So, just in 2 short years, the success, Nevermind came out in late 91. They did have Bleach, but it did not have the crossover as much as Nevermind. So really, the only year that they really had live in the limelight was 1992. Now, obviously, once the singles wore off from Nevermind, it's kind of like, well, what the hell were they doing? So obviously, I looked up the information on what they were doing, and apparently the In Utero album was made in February of 1993. So that lets you know, really, that gave them the rest of the year between then and September to get it finalized and that sort of thing. But just the fact that they made it in a month and how good it was the best part. So my biggest question was, obviously I wasn't able to, think about what life was like in 93, but what was Nirvana doing like in May of 93 and July and August of 93? That's just something I kind of wonder, is what exactly were they doing? Were they just waiting in the wings, letting people kind of get anticipation and hype and all that? I don't even know if Kurt Cobain was around, the rest of those guys, the other 2 members in the band, if they were doing promotion, what they were doing, if they were touring. It's just interesting. I know some bad things happened to Kurt in 93, but I just am unaware of exactly, what happened within the year. And that goes to show, it's not just 93, but what about November 92 and January 93 before the album was made? It's just interesting thinking of what that was. And speaking of which, I've been attempting to listen to r.e.m. So that, the song of note there is Losing My Religion. Now obviously, I don't know if you can classify that song as grunge, but it is. It's a pretty thick song. It's definitely a good one. I just wish I could find like another 5 songs just like it. And I'm very tempted to go out and buy the 91 album Out of Time. But, my family knows this album because my aunt and mother and uncle were born in the 60s, so they know some of this music. But it's just interesting that trying to see some of this music, it's fun, but, of course, my ears are not quite as adjusted to it as they should have been. Now, obviously, if I had been doing this for the past 12 years, it'd be different, but those luxuries were not always in place. So, Losing My Religion, that's like a new song that I find quite full of energy. Just like that and Pearl Jam. I need to listen to them a lot more.